What's up, everybody? Welcome to Racing Dudes Live. It is Belmont Stakes post-draw day. We're happy you're here with us. Aaron, Jared, Mike, Somich, Magic. Guys, let's talk about this. We got to have the draw here in just a couple of moments. It's going to be a field of 9. We lost Race Kane yesterday. It's nice that we got to found out about that early enough on that we don't have to worry too much about him, though. Not sure that many of us were going to pick him anyway. Aaron, I'll throw to you. You were right before we went live. You were doing the math about how many horses have been in each of the 3 races and how many horses have been in 2 legs. Obviously, Mage was the only one who could have been in all 3 legs, and when he didn't win the Preakness, well, he's not showing up here. So, what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, we've got a short field again, but I do think you have the right horses. You've kind of got the horses that everybody, I mean, minus Mage, obviously, but everybody else, this is kind of what people wanted to see. Angel of Empire coming back, Capid Trice, everybody's kind of circled this race. You do have the Preakness winner, and you have the horse that would have been the Kentucky Derby favorite. So we've got the right ones, even though we got a short field. But again, we go into this week, and it's dangerously close if 1 or 2 of these horses scratch, and it's like, uh-oh. This isn't going to be great again. But as of right now, it looks like a pretty good field.
Jared, your boy Tapit Trice shows up back here, a horse that I think 2 or 3 months ago we were all pegging. Is like, hey, there's a Belmont horse right there. When you look at this field, we don't have the post positions yet, but he's here. This is what you wanted for him. How confident do you feel about his chances in it?
Not. I mean, I don't know how you depend on him really at this point. I think he's like, could he win? Yes. Do I think is this race made for him? Yes. But I don't know how you can depend on him, you know. I do think I'm not off of the fact of I think this is the race that's made for him all along. But yeah, I listened, believe it or not, I did listen to the Magic Mike show yesterday, and I kind of agree with Somich. Kind of listen, yeah, he's probably the most talented horse in the race. Maybe it's close with Forte, but is he he's also very, very green still. He's still got a lot to learn. I can see. I think he's a lock to hit the board. How about that? Is he going to be good enough to run down Forte getting in the race? Well, I don't necessarily agree with the logic. I would have liked to seen them kind of prep the horse ready for the for the summer. But the fact that he's here tells you something, and it kind of throws a little wrench in it if you really like Tapit Trice, because I do think Forte will. I mean, it's you can't just toss him, right?
Mike, going off of what Jared was talking about there, and also kind of going to what Dennis's comment is here, is this the best field of the triple? Oh, they're drawn already. This is a weird situation. I don't know if you guys are watching this. So Tapit Trice is going to be the first one. Someone goes up, reaches into the vase. Then the trainer... Did we just pull... Oh, what are they doing? Then the trainer goes up and pulls a statue that's going to have the post. But before we figure out the post, we're going to show a video of Tapit Trice winning the Bluegrass. Just when I thought we might actually finally have a post draw go off without anything stupid happening, then they do this. Okay. Sorry. While we do this, Mike, real quick, is this the best field out of the Triple Crown?
No. I mean, the best field out of Triple Crown was the Derby. I mean, when you go back and you just look at the whole of it, yeah, it would have been nice to have Forte in there. But I still think, when you look through this field, horses like Il Maracao, Red Route 1, Tapit Shoes, I don't think they're anything to get really excited about. I do think this is by far a more interesting race than the Preakness is, though. And from a field size perspective, I mean, even when Justify won the Triple Crown, there were 7 in the Preakness, right? And there was 8, 7 in the Belmont. I mean, so I don't think this is a wildly short field for the Belmont either. I can't remember the last time we saw 14 horses try and compete for it. So I think this is a really interesting race and a fun Belmont. The Friday card's amazing. I think the Saturday card looks pretty good. So I'm actually pretty excited for these 2 days of racing, because I think we got a lot of stars to show up. I think New York on Friday is phenomenal. And I mean, again, from a betting perspective, you're going to get a decent price on Forte. He's plus 225 right now overseas. So if you like the favorite, you're going to do okay. And there's a lot of different directions to go here as well. I mean, Arcangelo, kind of an up-and-comer. You've got Angel of Empire coming off the Derby. I think ran really well. Tapit Trice, an interesting horse to play back. National Treasure just went Gates Wire in the Preakness. So I don't know. I guess maybe I'm a little higher on this race than other people. But I think this is a really fun Belmont.
Tapit Trice drew post 2. He's going to be 3-1 odds here. This is such a weird ass way. I get that they're trying to do something different and creative with this post drop, but this is. Can we
making the trainer pick the number is actually kind of funny.
I like that because you're literally getting your own, you pick your own fate up there. You don't know which where they're all situated. Why are we spending 45 seconds to a minute in between each? Like, can we just draw the damn stuff? Why is this so hard?
So that we can react to it. That 2-hole is a terrible draw for Tapit Trice. No one said it yet. That's awful. He wanted to be outside, not inside.
Post 7.
He's going to have to work out a trip now, which is not what Tapit Trice wanted to do. He just wanted to lope along and then make one big run.
What did I just do? Well, Brad Cox, trainer of the Belmont Stakes winner, Essential Quality. He's got his Essential Quality hat on. See if that gives him any luck. He'll be up here a bit, so maybe just have Brad Cox hang out real close by the stage. Maybe they'll go a little faster. Hit show the first of 3 for post draws here. He's got post 7. We're going to find out his odds here. 10-1 on hit show, Mike. That's a horse that you liked a lot to hit the board in the Derby. Do you like 10-1 on hit show?
I don't mind it. I think he's definitely one of the logical prices to finish in the top 3 or in the Superfecta. I think it'll be tough for him to win the race, but he's going to be a lot more forwardly placed than some of the other horses that we're going to talk about as major win candidates. I mean, you're looking at Angel of Empire, Forte, and Tapit Trice as the 3 major threats to National Treasure. Hit Show will be close to National Treasure. Those other 3 could be a ways back.
National Treasure going to be up next. Jared, it looks like he might be the speed here. We'll see where he draws as far as, along with Il Miracolo, might be the other potential speed in here. Does it matter where National Treasure draws? Would you prefer to see him inside because of the speed angle?
Not really. I don't really care, to be honest. Well, we're about to find out as I talk here where National Treasure, because they just drew his name. We'll find out. Is Bobby going to be up there? Is he going to be?
Nope, that's Jimmy Barnes, and he's got an upside-down 4. All right, good job, Jimmy.
Listen, I think I'm gonna be the odd one out here. I don't put a lot of stock into the Belmont draw at all. I don't. I mean, yeah, I guess if you want to like be picky, I think Tapit Trice drawn outside makes sense. But listen, he's not gonna go fast either way. So he'll be on the outside before you know it, because all the horses are gonna go past him early in the race. So I'm not too concerned about the post draw for any of these horses. It doesn't really matter. It's a 1.5 mile race. The trip will be worked out where it's worked out, so I'm not too concerned. I do think as far as pace goes, like, you know what I mean? Like, they saw what happened in the Preakness. They're not going to let that happen again. I think Forte could be closer than most people think. I think Tapit Shoes, your guys' horse now, back to your team. I think that horse will be forwardly placed. I don't necessarily think I do believe he'll still, because that's just the way he's going to want to run. He's going to be on the lead. He's going to be probably trying to draw clear of everyone. But I do think there'll be more horses kind of posing an issue. And then you got a 1.5 mile situation as well. I mean, will he have something left in the tank that last, 1/8 of a mile whenever you've had horses kind of breathing down your neck, which I expect to be happening more here than happened in the Preakness.
I think this draw right here.
Miracolo gets post 5. What do you think about that, Aaron? Do you like this horse at all?
No. Am I supposed to like that horse?
No, that's okay. You haven't talked in a little bit. I was trying to. that was the next horse up. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean,
you have to tell us why you like him, Halterman.
I was just letting other people talk there. Yeah, look, no, I don't like him. We'll see. I mean, you guys say, Jared is talking about pace. I just don't see a horse that's very fast early, other than the National Treasure. That's where the problem goes. So I don't know. Look, Brad Cox has got 3. Surely he sends 1, right? Try to set it up for the other 2. We'll see if that happens. That should happen, but we've said that before with his horses, and it doesn't seem to happen all that often.
Yeah, I thought it was important that Il Miracolo or Tapit Shoes draws inside of National Treasure. Because that I think makes a big difference from a pace perspective, especially since Il Miracolo he's got to go, right? I mean, he's got no choice but to go if he wants to try and win the race.
I mean, I don't think he's naturally as fast as National Treasure, but we'll see. Maybe he can. They'll just ride him along there. Could get a similar trip to like I think of another Florida horse like a Skippy Longstocking did last year. I mean, I think that's what you got to do. I agree with that.
If Miracolo is going to win, you need to send him hard early, because his only chance of winning is if everybody else falls down, and if they fall down in front of him, he might fall down too. So that's about as good as it gets. Post 3 for Arcangelo. So we've got the rail 6, 8, and 9 still left to go. Arcangelo, winner of the Peter Pan Stakes, one race after breaking his maiden, kind of following a similar path as Tonalist, who won this race in 2014. Also, We the People last year, kind of a similar path as well. Start number 4 in the Peter Pan, start 5 in the Belmont. You can get more thoughts on that horse over at youtube.com/racingdudes. Did a video kind of talking about his chances, but 8-1 for Arcangelo. We'll see. Who's the next one we're drawing here, buddy? Red Route 1. Okay. Everybody's favorite dead set closer. Oh, boy. Aaron, we talked about it. Red Route 1 should have been, if he'd been in the Derby, this would have been the horse, Aaron, that would have made all 3 legs of the Triple Crown, right?
Yeah, he would have been the only one because he only runs for about 1/8 of a mile. So whether you're running a mile and a half, mile and a quarter, he only runs for about 1/8. So he could have made all 3. Unfortunately, wasn't good enough to get in the Derby, which is kind of crazy considering who actually was in that race. So see what he does here. I mean, this is one where posts is totally irrelevant for him.
The $1 million
Post
question.
9.
Who's going to be further back in this race, Tapit Trice or Red Route 1?
Well, Luis Saez is riding one, Joel's riding the other. So I think that answers that question for you.
The anchor.
And you've got Steve Asmussen on Zoom to talk about this.
Love it. I'm sure he's
not even there.
I'm sure he's so excited to be
and
a part of it.
and the feed is bad. He can't hear anything, and now we're done. Oh my God, this is like the beginning of the pandemic when nobody knew how this stuff worked.
Is he at Ellis now? Is that where he is?
So
he's got to be, right?
you guys want to talk about the state of racing after this draw? I'd love to.
The state of racing is California, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Yeah,
you know the
Angel
good thing
Empire,
about that
Forte.
that was the quickest interview we've had of this whole stupid thing was right there. Forte, here we go. We got 1, 6, and 8 left. We'll
Give
see where
Forte
Forte's
the
going to go.
68.
Yeah.
I want
How do
Tapit
we
to
know?
draw the one.
How do they know Red Route 1 got 9 and not 6? There wasn't a line underneath it to indicate which way was up. How do they know which one he got?
It's a fair question.
Oh God.
Come on. Would that not be horse racing where they go, oh shoot, we've got 2
I can't wait for
sixes
them to
or 2
pull the
nines?
6 and it's like, oh, that's a 9.
He did. It's post 6.
So this is actually really important, I think. I think if Tapit Shoes draws the one, it makes a big difference to this race.
I agree. You're not going to see Angel of Empire gun it.
Nope. So either National Treasure is the inside speed or the middle speed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Tapit Shoes is going to be, you would think, going to be 40 places. I don't hate him in this race. I think he's going to get at like the 3rd Brad Cox horse, and I think he's got, I think he's interesting to hit the board.
Just kind of looking back through Tapit Shoes.
5-2, Forte.
They're going to have to really ride him hard if he's going to get to the lead.
Yep. Well, I mean, like, you got to think that if you've got 3 in here for Cox, one of them's going. And logic says it's Tapit Shoes.
Yeah.
And this is a horse that I was high on early in this campaign. I mean, if you go back and you watch his first couple races, he's got a world of talent. He just is goofy as all get out right now, and he has not figured that out yet. So at some point, he's got to figure that out. But it's the question of, he and Red Route 1 were right together last time. Of the 2, I'd rather have Tapit Shoes in the Belmont than Red Route 1.
Is Angel of Empire in the 1 hole a situation for you, like a negative?
No, I think it makes National Treasure more difficult if he's the inside speed. So that to me is why the draw here matters. Because if Tapit Shoes is inside, I think he's kind of got to go. And at least then you have some pressure on National Treasure. Whereas if he's not on the inside and it's Angel of Empire, I think you could see something very similar.
We got the 1.
There we go.
There
Where
it is.
National
All right.
Treasure essentially just floated everybody out. And that's why he was able to go so slow the second quarter.
Yeah, you did a great job on Magic Mike Show explaining that while we had the replay up, Mike, of when as soon as Johnny V broke, he was looking where Mage was, and he kept making sure he was poking him and pushing him, and then he checked one more time and saw Mage was far back and said, all right, I got this one. Here we go.
I definitely think Forte is the post-time favorite. I'd be surprised if he wasn't. Just the name alone, the Derby favorite, didn't get to run in the Derby. I think he's a nice addition to this race just from a pure standpoint of well, for one, it's good to see him in the race because I do think, like, just from a name standpoint. But two is like he's gonna take a bunch of money, and so it makes the odds a little bit better if you liked Tappa Trice, if you liked Angel of Empire. I do think Forte is still going to be the favorite of the race.
I agree. I think you're going to see a lukewarm favorite too. I don't think you're going to see 8-5, 7-5. I think you're going to get a price on whoever you like here.
Yeah.
If you like Tappa shoes, you got 20-1 on him. What do we? Let's post 8 is left for Angel of Empire. I don't know why Brad Cox has to just stand up there and wait for them to tell him just pick up the last one. Even
So what's he going to be? 4-1 here, I guess.
4-1, 9-2, somewhere right in that range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's awfully interesting at that price.
He ran a really good Derby. I mean, Mage just beat him to like 2 holes. That was the difference in that race. I mean, Mage was a little more athletic than Angel of Empire was, or else Angel of Empire gets that same trip and probably wins the race.
That's you watch that race back. I totally agree with what you just said. Yeah, and this is a race you really don't have to be athletic. You just got to be able to finish. You got to be able to keep going, and I think he's super, super interesting. Like I said, if he's 4-1, 9-2, I think he's super interesting in this race. And you kind of got the Forte that's like, I just don't know, 2 months off. Now we're going a mile and a half. This wasn't the plan, blah, 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 all that shit. And then you got Tappa Trice, who ran just a god-awful, pathetic, terrible Derby, period. No way around it. So that makes to me, it makes Angel of Empire really interesting.
That's kind of what I was going to go with. Maybe I'm not as mean as you are about Tappa Trice, but the point is like, you can't make like when I look back at last year and you look at Mo Donegal, you're like, yeah, he ran pretty well, all things considered. Like he got traffic, he had trouble, but he kind of made a run late. And you know what I mean? Like, and then he, of course, went into the Belmont. We're like, oh, yeah, that's Angel of Empire in this race. That's not Tappa Trice in this race. And to me, that's my issue of where I keep going. Like, yeah, I want to really pick Tappa Trice, but you're right. You can't make any excuses. He ran like shit in the Derby, and Angel of Empire didn't. Angel of Empire ran a good race, but like you guys said, it's like, yeah, he kind of got beat to the punch in a lot of the cases. He still ran his race. The Derby he got derbied a little bit, he just wasn't, it was just a little bit of that situation. Whereas this definitely feels like the race for him, and a lot more Mo Donegal feeling for me, where I kind of thought it might be more of a Tappa Trice was the Mo Donegal of this race.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty well said. And you're right. You go back, you look at Mo Donegal, and it's like, well, he went really wide in that race last year in the Derby, and that cost him a lot. But boy, he was closing. He was coming. If you could have definitely looked back last year and said if he got the same trip Rich Strike got, he would have won. If you look back and you go, well, it was Tappa Trice that beat Mage all the holes, it wouldn't have mattered because he didn't run. So, yeah, I think you said it perfectly there. 7-2 morning line as we were kind of talking. So a little bit lower than what we thought, but still, he's going to be right around that price. And I don't know, maybe National Treasure takes a little more money than 5-1 coming off that Preakness win as well. So I think you're going to get the odds you want on Angel of Empire if you like him enough.
Yeah, it's interesting we have these comments back to back because I kind of agree with them both. Tappa Trice, turn of foot is suspect. I kind of agree, especially watching back the Bluegrass. Like you wanted him to just blow by verifying, and it took the whole stretch, and he was kind of goofy for it. But Ron's also correct. Everything the Derby was wrong for Tappa Trice. I talked about how much I hated that 5 draw with him with 4 speed to the inside. He ended up being the rail horse. He ended up being the slowest to the finish line the first time. But everything is right about the Belmont for him, where they're not going to go as fast early. The distance does favor him. Tappets win the Belmont. They don't win the Derby. So Tappa Trice is a really interesting horse in that sense because you believe he's got the talent to win the race, and everything was against him in the Derby. But there's also some big time question marks in my mind because of he's not explosive, right? You want him to explode, and I have not seen that yet from him. I believe it's in there somewhere, but it's just never really manifested itself on the racetrack yet.
And you hit it on the head, though. This is a race where you don't really have to have that explosion. If you can get yourself positioned, you can grind it out and you can win the Belmont similar to how he won the Bluegrass. So they're all good points. Everything does really set up much differently and much better towards him in this race, even if he is kind of who he is and this turn of foot is suspect. Well, grinders can win this race. So this is one that kind of sets up well for him. Yeah, look, I think the most disheartening thing about the Derby, 2 things for him. One, he broke fine. he wasn't fast enough after the break.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's slow.
And that's really tough to take. And then B, he did no running in the stretch when everybody was backing up. So that's two really, really just things. It's like, look, if he breaks poorly, breaks last, he's not good enough to get up into the race. It's like, well, okay, that we saw that happening. That was very possible. Even for those that liked him, we thought that was possible. But he's mid-ish pack, and then he's last on the turn. That's when you just wanted to go and punch him in the face.
It's going to be interesting to see what his odds 3-1 on the morning line and Angel of Empire's odds are off at. Angel of Empire 7-2. I thought Tapit Trice was going to be the favorite in the Derby after Forte scratched out. We saw Angel of Empire go off as the favorite. Here we're seeing a higher morning line on Angel of Empire than Tapit Trice. It'll be interesting to see if that flips. Overseas, it is projecting it to flip. Angel of Empire, the second pick at 7-2 right now, 4-1 on Tapit Trice. I kind of expect Angel of Empire to go off as a shorter price than Tapit Trice here because of what we saw in the Derby.
Yeah, I like if Tapit Trice floats up any whatsoever, I think he becomes a little more interesting. You know what's funny to kind of go back to what you said, Alterman. You would never have imagined that Tapit Trice outbroke Mage, but it was almost like you're like, I'm this, as you and I backing Tapit Trice, like, yes, he broke. And then it's almost like grabbing a handful of sand. You're like, I got it. And then it's just like slowly falling out. You're like, no, stay, and you're like, oh shit, now he's in last, And so it was like, you had this rush of like, he broke. And then it kind of went away. And so yeah, I agree with your point. Let me ask you guys all this, especially Somich, because I know you were so dead on with the way it went in the Derby as far as the pace. Like, let's imagine and that's the thing about it, like the Derby. It was like, yes, I was wrong about Tapit Trice, but I was more wrong about where I thought he would be in the race. You know what I mean? Like, I was dead wrong about the situation of the race. I thought he'd be in a better position. Where do you think, and like if he's in the turn, if they enter the far turn of the Belmont and he's Mo Donegal-ish spot, and I keep bringing that horse up, but like third, fourth, somewhere in that, similar to the Bluegrass. Now, are you like, okay, that's a horse I could bet? But is it more of a situation for you of I'm not against the horse. I'm more of like the time from point A to that spot of that race. I'm more concerned about that trip.
For me, I mean, he's one that I'm just going back and forth on. I probably am going to end up leaving him off my tickets the more I think about it, just because even if he's within 3 lengths of the lead at the top of the stretch, that probably means they went slow. That probably means that Angel of Empire is close to the lead as well. That probably means Forte is close to the lead as well. And then the question is, can he outkick both of those and pass National Treasure, who loped along out front? And I'm not sure the answer to all 3 of those is yes, because it would have to be for him to win the race.
Well, we'll go. We'll wrap things up here. We'll give out our early prediction picks here. Aaron, I'll start with you because you're on top and because I love you the most. Where are you going with your top pick here for the Belmont Stakes?
Two very important situations on this show always. Who do you love and who's on top, right, Magic? I
usually love whoever's on top.
Okay. I like Angel of Empire the more I've kind of thought about this leading up to this show. So I've got him as a very early pick that is definitely not set in stone in any way, shape, or form. But I do like that he drew to the outside. I do think, we question Tapit Trice's turn of foot. And I think it's fair. I don't think you have to question Angel of Empire's turn of foot. He's got it. He's shown it now. We like that about him. Can he have that same turn of foot going 1.5 miles? That's going to be my big question mark and why I'm going to go one way or another. So, yeah, Angel of Empire on top for me at this moment.
Jared, what about you?
Man. I'm certainly not locked in stone on this one either. I'll say this. Angel of Empire is growing on me. Very well could be the pick as when I make my final selection. I'm going to very cautiously say I'm picking Tapit Trice still at this point, but honestly, I could see myself picking Tapit Trice. I could see myself picking Forte. I could see myself picking Hit Show, and I could see myself picking Angel of Empire. Those are the 4 I'm kind of narrowing in on. I am going to take a stand against National Treasure. Maybe not. I'll probably maybe use defensively, but as far as a win pick, I probably will play against.
Mike, yesterday on the Magic Mike show, someone asked what's the best win price on Forte, and you said probably not below 3-1, 4-1. He's 5-2 here. I'm gonna guess he's not your pick to win the Belmont.
He's the most likely horse to win the Belmont. I wouldn't win bet him at 5-2, but I do think he's the most likely horse to win. In National Treasure, after the draw, is really interested in me too. I think he's going to control the pace. I don't see anyone who can press him. And if they go too slow, this is not a race. We always talk, like people always say, oh, closers in the Belmont. No, you want to be close to the pace if you want to win the race. And that's going to be National Treasure. I've got some interest in Hit Show, interest in Forte as well. Angel of Empire, I think, is another one that you got to take a long, hard look at too. I mean, even Archangelo is interesting. I think this is a really interesting race. Right now, I would probably take Forte, but I think National Treasure is a real threat.
If Forte wins, he would be the second horse in the last, I think, 25. Is it second horse since 2000 to win the Belmont Stakes off of at least a month and a half rest. 'Tis the law, the other horse to do it, and that was the COVID year in 2020 when they also won a mile and an eighth. One turn for the Belmont. So a slightly different situation there. Forte going to have to buck the trend of horses coming in off with a lot of rest for the Belmont. And hey, do we even know if he's going to run? We'll find out. Stay tuned. We'll have all of the hot scoops over at twitter.com/racing_dudes. Yes. I forget what that one was. I'm going to go with Angel of Empire. That was my Derby pick. That's my boy. He's got Flavian Pratt aboard. We'll see if we can get that home. Red Route 1 to finish fourth. I think you can probably key him in fourth place in your superfecta and go with that one. But if it's not Angel of Empire, please let it be Tappet Shoes. Mike and I don't want to finish last after being champions of the Racing Dudes Triple Crown Fantasy League last year. So that's where our hopes lie, is on a horse that we originally drafted and dropped stupidly, perhaps.
Hey, Magic. I have a question
Yes, sir.
for you there, big boy. How many more times do you get to use that stupid intro of your guys'? Is that one more time, you think?
Yeah. Literally one more time. We got one more. One more.
By the way, I got to say, we'll talk a lot about it. Man, this has been a hell of a season for Shoddy and Davey. It's incredible. You look at every race, you're like, oh, they've got two horses running in this one. They got two red horses running in this one. They got unlucky with Practical Move and Derby. I mean, or else they would have been even better. But, man, for a team that drafted really well, did a couple good claims, I'm not even mad that they're winning. I'm impressed.
So the team that drafted Hoosier Philly in the second round. Yeah, that's where we stand with this thing. I'm still not happy about that one. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Everybody in the chat, you were amazing, fantastic. We're going to be here live every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the morning for me, but at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific for dudes who bet daily. And then, of course, Saturday we'll have our big Belmont Stakes live show. Possibly be live Friday for some of the big races as well at Belmont Park. They've got some really great ones. The Grade 1 New York and Grade 1 Acorn, I think, are at least going to be worth us covering live. So join us back here at youtube.com/racingdudes. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and make sure you hit like on this video, please. And also, tune in to Dudes Who Bet Sports this week, because as Kevin B says, Papa Dude's take on that new PGA LIV merger is going to be a good one. We all know it. We don't know what it is. We just know it's going to be a good one. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Make sure you check out racingdudes.com for picks for every race, every track across the country. And, of course, the Racing Dudes betting Bible for the Belmont Stakes. Jared, you guys did 74% ROI for the Preakness Bible. Was that it?
Yeah, combined for 70-something percent, 74%. Had a huge exacted there. The $500 exacted was huge. Hopefully, we definitely turned things around after a terrible Derby. So hopefully we can keep that going here in the Belmont.
.com, Kevin. All right, thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time.